Hey, it's Sam. Today we're going to make this super solid workbench here on UrbnGoods. Let's go. Hey guys, Sam here. Thanks for watching. First I've got 90 by 40mm pine, which is very similar to 2x4s in the US. Just looking for any cupping, bending or warping of these pieces. The ones I don't use I'm going to throw on the ground. I'm using Type Bond 3 Ultimate, which is actually waterproof. I don't need it to be waterproof, but that's what I had, so that's what I'm going to use. It's pretty important to use a lot of glue, since this is the only fixings I'm using to keep this workbench together. As you can see, I'm putting a ton of it. I'm going to use a little plastic scraper to spread it all out, because I hate touching glue. Take your time, it's not going to dry in 5 minutes, but obviously don't take too long. So, I'm sticking them all together, making sure it's relatively flat. Unfortunately this timber does have a bit of warp. I'm going to clamp it in 3 separate parts so it makes sure to fit my thickness planner. I don't have any pipe clamps, but I got these quick fit clamps which work great. It's not ideal, but for a workbench, I'm more than happy to use them. So the next day, I put it through the router. I have 3 different lots. This takes ages and makes heaps of dust. I wish I had a dust extraction system, but that would be coming. Every time I go through, I'm going to drop it by about 2 to 3mm. You can't take too much off, otherwise it will gouge out the timber. Alright, now we're up to the final glue up. Same as the first step, put heaps of glue, spread it out with a spatula. Unfortunately this timber was so cheap and there was a bit of warping, which you'll probably see in a second. When I clamp it up, the front end closest to the camera was having trouble joining in. So what I had to do is move one of my clamps closer to the front just to try to squeeze out the gap. Love using these clamps, so easy to use. Probably don't get the same amount of pressure as other types of clamps, but they're so easy. Alright, the next stage is trimming the edges. I've put a straight line to use my circular saw to cut. My circular saw isn't big enough to cut through in one pass, so I had to cut halfway. Unfortunately this is too heavy for me to turn over myself, so I had to resort to other ways of cutting it. I ended up using a saw, which is okay. At the end, after that, I got a router with a rounding over bit, went around the whole piece. Just to round up the edges. Started with 80 grit on the places that were pretty bad, and then I worked my way up to 120. Doesn't have to be super smooth for a workbench, but smooth enough. For the finish, I'm using a wipe-on poly by Feast Watson. It's pretty cheap. It's just good steel. I don't want to use anything too expensive because it is a workbench. I'm not going to use any stains because that's unnecessary. Just got a rag, wiped it onto the rack and kept going. Turns out quite shiny and nice. And that's the final product. If you like it, please subscribe because there's heaps more to come. Probably a little bit more design aspect, not just a workbench. So subscribe to find out. Thanks for watching.